Yo, what is up, boys? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a complete controller settings guide, and I'm going to be covering every single setting, so make sure you watch until the very end. I'm also going to let you guys know which settings you should and you shouldn't use, so by the end of this video, you should be able to find your perfect settings. But let's waste no more time and get right into the video. We're going to be starting off in the video section of your settings. So first of all, in your display, your window mode should be on full screen and your resolution should be 1920 by 1080. And if you play 240 FPS just like me, you can go ahead and set your frame limit to unlimited or 360 FPS. Make sure that whatever your FPS is, you set your FPS one above that. So for example, if you play on 144 FPS, you're going to want to go ahead and set your FPS to 160. And next up, we have the graphics, and this one is all personal preference. Some people do like to use a colorblind mode, but personally, I just leave it off. I also just leave my brightness on 100, but you can mess around with this for yourself and find what you think is comfortable. Next up are the graphics quality. So first of all, you're going to want to put your 3D resolution on 90%, and here's why. What your 3D resolution does is determine what percentage of pixels are actually shown in game. So for example, if you're looking at a tree in game and your 3D resolution is on 100% of those trees pixels will be shown. But if you lower this down to 90, only 90% of that tree's pixels will be shown. So lowering your 3D resolution down to 90% will make your game have to load in less pixels and will give you better FPS. Also, I like to leave my view distance and my textures all the way down so I can get the best performance possible. Your texture should 100% be on low, but some people do like to use their view distance on epic. Personally, I don't notice much of a difference, but the performance with it on near is much better, so that's why I leave my view distance on near. And these two settings here were actually new in this season. So if you're on PC and you haven't changed these at all, they're gonna start off being on. And if you haven't adjusted these yet, you're gonna want to make sure you head into your settings and turn these off ASAP. If you look on the right side over here, you'll notice that it says if they're on, Fortnite will automatically download high resolution textures. And if you look right here, they explain exactly why this is bad. If you turn this feature off, it may help improve performance and save disk space. So definitely make sure you go ahead and turn both of these settings off if you have not yet. And meshes are a big debate in the Fortnite community. Some people like to leave them on high, but some people also like to leave them on low. And personally, I do like my meshes on low instead of high. It's Jerry made a video on low meshes versus high meshes, but low meshes do give you better performance. So if you want the best performance possible, just go ahead and trust me on this and put your meshes on low. And then moving down to the advanced graphics down here, you're going to want your VSync off because turning it off will give you better performance. And then you can have show FPS on or off. This doesn't really matter, but I like to leave it on just so I can see how many frames I'm running. And then of course for rendering mode, you guys definitely want to be in performance mode, and it's no debate at all. Your input delay and your frames will be much better on performance mode compared to DX12 and DX11. So make sure you guys are on performance mode. All right, that's it for the video section. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the game section. To start off, you're definitely going to want to have your toggle sprint on. This is because if you have your toggle sprint off, you're going to have to add a whole extra bind just to sprint. So for example, if I use toggle sprint, maybe I would put that on my left stick and then I wouldn't be able to put my edit on my left stick. So turning your toggle sprint on will free up an extra bind for you, and extra binds on controller are so clutch. Next up is auto open doors, and you guys are 100% going to want this on, and here's why. So if you have your auto open doors off, it's going to be bad because when you're free building and you accidentally make a door, you won't actually walk through the door. You'll have to press E to open it. But that's not the case for when you have auto open doors on. So with auto open doors on, you can actually just run straight through the door if you accidentally edit it. And this can really come in clutch because if you're like me, you will definitely accidentally edit some doors here and there. So turning on auto open doors will completely fix this problem, and you won't have to worry about accidental door edits anymore. Next up is mantle activation, and this one is another important one, and I'll show you why hold jump is much better than hold forward. So when your mantle activation is turned on hold forward, you will accidentally mantle onto things all the time. If you accidentally jump next to a wall, you will mantle onto it even if you didn't want to. But if your mantle activation is on hold jump, you won't have to worry about this problem anymore. See, I could run right next to this wall and jump and it won't put me on top of it because you see that button right there, it says press A to mantle. I won't mantle onto this wall until I press that button. So this makes it so I will only mantle when I want to. So yeah, that's why hold jump is much better than hold forward for mantle activation, and you guys should definitely be using hold jump. Next is hold to swap pickup, and you guys are going to want this one on as well, and here's why. For example, let's say you're in a game and you see these two guns on the ground, and you want to swap this pump here for the AR in your inventory. What the average person would do is drop their AR and then pick up the pump. But if you've hold to swap pickup on, you don't need to do that. You can actually just walk up to the shotty and hold your swap button, and then it'll switch your guns instantly. So this little trick here could actually save you a few seconds in game, and we all know in Fortnite that could be your life or death. For toggle targeting, you're definitely going to want to have this off. Everyone likes to hold down their trigger when they zoom in, so yeah, make sure this is off. Mark danger when targeting, have it on. Auto pick up weapons, you're going to want this off because you don't want to just randomly pick up weapons if you run over them. And then preferred item slots is pretty interesting. If you go ahead and click configure, you can actually set up your inventory however you want it. So as you can see in loadout slot 1, I have it selected as a shotgun. So if I picked up a shotgun in game, it would automatically go to my first slot. And this can save you a lot of time from reorganizing your inventory. So I like my AR in my last slot and my shotgun in my first slot, and then these three are all just random. But if you play shotgun in second slot, then make sure you put your shotgun in loadout slot 2. This may be different for everybody, so make sure you adjust this to your own liking. And auto store consumables to right, I have this on. Reset building choice, I have off. And disable pre-edit option, I have this on, and I'm going to show you why this is so important for me. So when you have disabled pre-edit option off, it can really mess you up. You guys know when you're holding out your builds and you don't build and you get this like pre-built wall? So you can actually accidentally edit a pre-edit when you're playing, and this can really mess you up. Like as you can see, someone can get a free shot on me right now. Like I can't place a full wall. And then what you have to do is you have to look away and then reset it to get your builds back. But when you have disable pre-edit option on, it won't do this anymore. So when I have my wall like this, it won't even give me the option to edit it. And this comes in really clutch because you won't get any of those annoying pre-edits anymore. But if you're a keyboard player, you should probably be using pre-edits. My duo is a keyboard and mouse player, and I make him use pre-edits because they're actually very useful in game. But that's a whole different topic, so let's move on to the next setting. For extra game options, just copy the first 5 that I have, and then I'm going to explain the tap to search/interact. So you're definitely going to want to have this on, obviously, because it's better to just tap something instead of holding the button. So when you open a chest, you only have to tap it instead of holding that button. And then report performance stats, you can have this disabled. For replays, it's a little bit interesting. If you want the best input delay possible, you're going to want to have all of these off. But I leave my record replays on because me and my duo often play scrims, and we like to VOD review our matches. So with record replays on, I can easily go back and watch our matches. And I also have creative mode replays on so I can make thumbnails for my YouTube videos. But yeah, if you don't do either of those things, definitely turn these off. Alright, that's it for the game settings, so let's move on to the next one. I personally do not use gyro aiming, and it's not that good, so I recommend that you don't use it either. So for me, I just leave this off, and I haven't messed with any of these at all. But if you do use gyro aiming, just mess with it for yourself and find what's comfortable for you. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to controller options, and these settings are probably why you clicked on this video, so let's get into it. Actually, before we go into controller options, I forgot to go over the game UI settings. If you play on a 100% HUD scale, you want to go ahead and turn this down to 65. This right here is a 100% HUD scale, and as you can see, it's super bulky and takes up a lot of space. But this right here is the 65% HUD scale, and as you can see, it frees up a lot more space. You don't need your HUD scale big at all, and you can actually bring it lower than 65% if you want. But 65% is the HUD scale that I like the most, so that's why I recommend it. And then for the rest of these, you can go ahead and copy my settings, but I will go over net debug stats real quick. This thing right here will tell you your ping on the top left. I'm sure most of you guys know that, but I like to have this on just so I can see my ping. But yeah, just go ahead and copy all these settings for yourself because they're really not that important. And now we can go ahead and move on to the controller options. To start off, you're going to want your controller auto run off. You can turn your controller auto run off because in these settings we actually turned on toggle sprint, so it actually doesn't do anything. And of course, you guys want build immediately on. If you have this off, you've been missing out in Fortnite, so yeah, definitely go ahead and turn this on if you don't already. And then edit hold time, you want this all the way down. No matter what settings you use, make sure this is all the way down. And then slide hold time, I prefer mine all the way down, but I'm going to explain this to you. So if you have your slide hold time on 0.15 seconds, this is what it'll do. So if you want to slide, you actually have to hold your button down for 0.15 seconds, and this is a little bit of delay that I don't like. So this is why I put my slide hold time all the way down, so it's basically just a button click. 0.01 seconds is basically nothing, so all I pretty much have to do is tap my button to slide in game. And some people like to say that with a slide hold time this low, it can mess up your crouch. And that's true because some people do like to crouch while they're running, but I don't. If I crouch, I stop, then I crouch, and then I can keep running like this. But if you do accidentally slide all the time, then make sure you go ahead and raise your slide hold time. But like I said, I don't have to worry about that, so that's why I put mine all the way down. Next up is vibration, and you guys want this off 100%. When your controller vibrates, it can throw you off, and it also causes a little bit of input delay, so go ahead and turn this off. Unless you really like vibration, you can go ahead and turn this on, but personally, I don't really care about it, so I leave it off. Next up, we have your sensitivity. For me, I used to use a high build mode and a high edit mode sense. I used to use a 2.3 for build and a 2.3 for edit. I also used to have my advanced look sensitivity down to a 40%. But what I recently did was increase my look sensitivity and decrease my build and edit mode sensitivity. Doing this just made me feel like a much smoother builder, and I feel like I hit a lot more of my edits now. Also, my aim and my flicks got a little bit better now that my sense is higher, so I would definitely recommend trying this sense out for yourself. And here's one little tip I have for you guys when finding your sensitivity. Try to make sure that your build mode and your edit mode sense aren't too far apart, and also make sure that your horizontal speed and your vertical speed aren't too far apart. What I mean by that is don't make one like 29 and the other one 47, or like one like 2.6 and 1.8. Like try and keep them close. Like 1.8 and 2 are fine, and then like 47 and 42 are fine, but just don't make them too big apart, you know what I mean? Personally, I like to have mine both dead even with each other because it just feels much better to me. Next up, for your advanced look sensitivity, you're going to want to make sure that you have your boost on 0. Make sure it's on 0 for your horizontal and your vertical. And then you can also go ahead and turn off your boost ramp time because this doesn't matter if you have no boost on. Your boost ramp time will only affect the boost that you have on, so since we have none, this won't do anything. Next up is your aim down sight speed, and you guys need to listen to me here. If you play linear just like me, you're going to want to go ahead and turn on your horizontal and your vertical boost. So I used to play on a 12-12 with 0 boost, but then I changed it to a 7-7 with 3 boosts. So if you guys currently play with no boost on like this, what you're going to want to do is lower your horizontal and your vertical and then raise your boost. This right here is what I found to be my perfect sensitivity. But I would recommend staying between a 6 and a 10% for your horizontal and your vertical speed, and anywhere between a 3 and a 6 for your horizontal and vertical boost. So test these out for yourself and find what's most comfortable for you. And then also you're going to want your ADS turning boost ramp time just on like 10. And then also you're going to want your ADS turning boost ramp time on 0.1. Trust me on this one. Look dampening time, have this on 0. And linear versus expo is a whole debate in itself, but I actually do prefer linear. You can be a much smoother builder on linear, and if you have your ADS sensitivity with boosts on like this, you'll have exponential aim. So that's why these settings here give you the best of both worlds. And controller dead zone is different for every single controller. So this is one setting that you can't just copy from a pro because your controller is different than theirs. I actually already made a whole video on how to find your perfect dead zone sensitivity, so if you still need help with that, click the video in the top right corner. And since I don't have a foot controller, I have this setting off. So yeah, boys, that is everything for controller options, so let's go on and move into your binds. One thing that a lot of people still struggle with is how to sprint like this on controller, so let me show you guys how to set that up. In your controller binds, you're going to want to click one of your D-pads and bind this to sprint/auto sprint. So then if you want a tactical sprint like this, all you have to do is click that button on your D-pad. That's really all there is to it. It's really not that hard to set up. And then to be honest, guys, finding your perfect binds is a completely different video in itself. So if you guys do want to find your perfect binds, make sure you drop a sub down below because I will be making another video about that. If you guys found at least one thing useful in this video, consider using code Vizeloo in the Fortnite item shop. This is by far the best way to support me, so I really do appreciate every single one of you guys who uses my code. And like I said before, make sure you drop a sub because it's free and you can always unsub later. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy the one that I'm putting on the screen right now. But yeah, boys, with all that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.